Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Yo, what is going on, good kind people? Lee Sanders here. You are checking out a special Saturday night edition of the RCWR Show, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. It's April 10th, 2021, and we are talking WrestleMania 37, Night 1, Fallout, my pretty babies. I want to hear from you guys. Sound off. We're streaming live on a couple of different outlets. We're streaming on YouTube. We've got the Twitter. We've got the Facebook. We've got the Twitch. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And if you guys want to be able to patch into the show, join me live, let me know, because we're definitely going to dedicate a portion of the show to you all, get you all's reactions. But for those of you that might be a little bit phone shy, just sound off in the comment section. I am able to read what you guys are saying. I want to know what you guys had thought, man. But man, overall, when I think about WrestleMania Night 1, and let me go a step further, because I know I'm going to feel the same way when Night 2 is in the books. So y'all got to be prepared for what I'm about to say. And I think many of you will definitely agree with me with this point, which is, when you look at WrestleMania as a whole, right? I just gotta say, man, just whether you are black or just a minority, just everything that we had saw tonight, and then just thinking about some of the stuff we're gonna be seeing tomorrow night, but really just home in on Night 1 for tonight of WrestleMania. Man, you just couldn't be helped but just be nodding your head and just be going, yo, this right here, now this is the type of progress that I'm talking about. As I always like to say on the show from time to time, forward, always forward. And man, just everything that was just going on tonight. It didn't matter if you were black. It didn't matter if you were Hispanic. It didn't matter if you were straight or gay. You know, tonight was just one of those nights where you really just sat back and you just said, man, look at the progress where we are right now within this company in WWE. And you already know how you got so many other companies that's looking at the WWE and they're essentially, oh, okay. I mean, what they did tonight, it's definitely going to be having some last longing effects that's going to trickle on down to the other promotions. I mean, look, not for nothing, but we saw a little bit of it happening recently over the years when you really stop and think about it and everything. But I will say this off the break, and this is no bullshit. I've been walking on God's green earth now for 40 years. 40 years I've been walking on God's green earth now. And no bullshit, I did not think in my respected lifetime I would ever see two blacks close out a WrestleMania. I never thought, and see, let me be honest here. Let me be honest. The thought never, ever crossed my mind as long as I've been a wrestling fan of, hey, you know what would be really cool? Is if WWE would close out a WrestleMania or pay-per-view in general. But let's just stay with WrestleMania. If they close it out with two blacks. Thoughts never crossed my mind. And I'm probably sure that for most fans, it never really crossed their minds. I mean, if it did cross y'all's mind, more props to you and everything. But I wouldn't be surprised if most fans didn't even really kind of take a step back and really think about that. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It don't mean that you're racist or anything like that. It just never crossed your mind. Nothing wrong with that. But no bullshit. Like, you know, if you had to ask me, I would say, probably 10 years ago. Hey, Lee, you ever think we're going to see two blacks close out a WrestleMania, yo? I think, knowing me 10 years ago, I would say to you, that's a real tough question. I'm not really sure. Who would the people be that would potentially close out your WrestleMania? That would probably be my question if you were to rewind it back and talk to me 10 years ago. That's probably most likely the answer I would give you. Is, it just depends, who's the talents at that point. Who's the ones that you could probably give the ball to. And, to see that phenomenal main event match between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Whether Bianca Belair won or not, you soaked all of that in for what it was worth. And it was mega fucking badass to see Bianca Belair, as well as Sasha Banks, but more so Bianca, really get lost in the moment. And, she's starting to tear up big time, really getting ready to let loose and everything. That was just, I was getting the goosebumps. I was getting a little bit emotional myself and everything. But those two girls, they went out there and they hit a home run. They really gave us fans the money's worth tonight. They really did. Bianca Belair, your new SmackDown Women's Champion. I just can't help but applaud that. I can't help but congratulate Bianca Belair. Because go back, listen to that show that we did Friday night. We were just here a little bit over 24 hours ago after SmackDown went off, and we were going over WrestleMania predictions and everything. And remember what I had said with regards to Bianca Belair. I said, I'm paraphrasing, but it's about 99% accurate. I said, okay, you look at that journey that she had down there in NXT for the couple of years that she was there, and how she was in these big clutch moments of cool kick-ass matches for the NXT Women's Championship, and came up short. Remember that? And it turned into a point where there was actually a nice little built-in storyline there while she was still in NXT. Y'all remember that? And you had Sam Roberts, really in storyline. That's pretty much what he really was. In storyline, taking jabs at Bianca Belair and everything. But when you really took a step back and you thought about it, you're like, man, when it's been coming to these moments in NXT for that women's title, she's been coming up short. So in storyline, she's been choking. Okay, and now she pretty much, all right, the stench of NXT, that's over and done with. Now she's on the main roster and everything. Look, we could be in agreement. When she first came up on that main roster, it definitely was a little bit rocky. It was. And then it got to a point where inconsistently we were seeing her on TV on a weekly basis. We're going, what the hell's going on here? And then the next thing you know, she gets drafted to another show. And you're like, okay, even though we really didn't get a chance to enjoy her that much on the other show, okay, whatever, And to see her win the Royal Rumble was a welcome breath of fresh air. I know myself, many of my other friends in the podcasting world, we were going, it'd be nice if Bianca could get it, but don't know. Just don't think that the brass is going to get behind her this soon. Maybe she needs a little bit more of a build-up. It wasn't ever an issue with her in-ring work whatsoever. It definitely was never an issue with her in-ring character. I mean, everything that you would want. There was no, well, take a step back, give some constructive criticism, what maybe needs to be tweaked a little bit, what needs to maybe be improved a little bit for Bianca Belair to XYZ. And there was never anything like that shit at all. Never. It was just a matter of, okay, like if you ask me, what was I seeing at that point with Bianca going into the Royal Rumble, possibly being the winner? My whole thing was, well, man, it kind of seems like she's been a bit inconsistent with the TV appearances. Kind of feels as though she hasn't been involved in not enough key story arcs, really help build her up properly. And for me, and I'm sure probably for more people as well, they kind of had that same mindset as I But those were my trepidations. So to see them pull the trigger on Bianca, have her win the Royal Rumble, I'm going, oh, wow. Not only is this a pleasant surprise, I'm going, okay, this is showing me without a shadow of doubt, this is the one. This is the next one I need to be watching. Okay, all right. They finally getting behind this girl. Okay, cool. And remember the point that I made Friday night, which is if you don't pull the trigger on Bianca Belair now, with all the stars aligned, everything just perfectly aligned. If you don't pull the trigger and make her a women's champion, then when? Because you don't pull it off at Mania, you're going to alienate the fans, right? And she's already had that unfortunate track record in NXT and storyline. And so, do you really want to, right? So, this overjoyed with emotion for Bianca Belair. It's nice to be able to say, hey, I remember when this girl came into NXT, watched her shit, saw a lot of potential in her early on. She definitely, especially you longtime listeners that's been with me, she definitely was one of those women down there in NXT. I said, watch her. Like, this girl definitely, she's fucking money. She is fucking money. Watch her. So to see where we are now with the women's division for SmackDown, this is very good. And you can't think of a better opponent to get you over that little hump and officially solidify you on the main roster, solidify you as a main eventer, solidify you as a bona fide superstar. It don't get any better than Sasha Banks. For everything that Sasha Banks has done in the WWE, will continue to do in the WWE, make no mistake about it, Sasha got even more future title reigns in her picture, without a shadow of doubt. But just the way everything was done to build up Bianca and for that trigger to be ultimately pulled, I love it. I love it on so many levels. I hope that particularly for the female demographic, which there are a lot of female fans for that WWE product, a lot of female fans. I mean, you got young girls, young little girls. You've got moms. You've got grandmas. Believe it or not, you do have grandmas that are watching this product with their kids and everything. I can just imagine how inspired they felt tonight seeing. I mean, just really kind of take a step back and think about that for a second. Just really think about that for a second. They don't seem, talk about the girls for a second, young women all around the world here, young female fans. They don't watch somebody, wow, this girl has the same complexion as I, or she's almost as dark as I am. Her hair is as woolly as mine. And, you look at her background. What a phenomenal backstory about Bianca Belair. I don't know if you guys had watched her special on the WWE Network. If you didn't, go watch it. But I mean, it's just all so freaking inspiring, when you really just take it in. And to see what went down tonight, I mean, that's how you get people so motivated and inspired. You know what? That can't be me. I can't succeed in, and you fill in the blanks and everything, right? So I can only imagine how the young women all around the world are feeling right now when they watch somebody like Bianca Belair and everything. But Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks tearing it up. Bianca, as consistent as she was in NXT, in this performance with Sasha Banks tonight on the grandest stage of them all, she showed no flaws in her wrestling game. My girl was just fucking poetry in motion. I mean, she was smooth as I don't know what. I mean, she did not come off rattled. She didn't get, I would like to believe she definitely had got the butterflies. I would definitely love to believe that she got the butterflies. And I mean, who probably didn't have butterflies again that participated in WrestleMania tonight? Because it's been over a year that we have seen fans in attendance for these damn things, right? Love that feat of strength that she showed when she had Sasha Banks over her shoulders, or over her head, and she's just taking her time when she's going on the top of those steel steps and then pretty much just doing that nice little power press, tossing her over the ring, over the ropes, back into the ring. Love that little spot right there. That was freaking badass. But nah, she went in there. She did not seem rattled whatsoever. Love the finish to that match too, by the way. I loved how Bianca had pretty much took her freaking hair. By the way, the fact that her hair was incorporated a lot in that match, especially the one part there where Sasha Banks tried applying the Banks statement and was using Bianca's own hair as part of that whole process. Love that touch. That was badass. It wasn't illegal whatsoever, right? When you stop and think about it, like you say it should be illegal because like it's not illegal. That's actual part of her. It's part of her anatomy. It's kind of like anything goes or whatever. But that little part, I love that particularly. Those moments where her hair was getting into the equation there. But no, that final moment where Bianca just took pretty much the end of her hair and slapped the shit out of Sasha Banks with it, hit her in the abdominal region. I mean, it sounded like a freaking gunshot, did it not? For those of you that watched, it sounded like a freaking gunshot. I mean, when that hit first went down, no bullshit, I actually was panning out in the crowd and I'm trying to see what the hell's going on. And I just got like a brain fart. It didn't register in my head until the last second. No, that was the hair that you were hearing because she hit her so hard. I thought somebody had fired off a round. Like, no bullshit. Go back and watch that particular scene again and listen to that joint. It sounded like somebody let off a round. But you're like, nah, that's just Bianca's fucking hair joint. But nah, she just smacked the shit out of her with that. And then Sasha Banks just pretty much holding her abdominal region, bouncing up and down, pretty much had set Bianca up, put in her finisher, getting the 1, 2, 3, becoming your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Good shit. By the way, Sasha Banks, I've always thought Sasha Banks was attractive. Not my cup of tea, but I thought she was cute. But man, the way she came out tonight with the green, blue kind of mixed in with the black hair there, and she had the same kind of color scheme going on for her attire tonight. I mean, she looked like a completely different woman out there. When she first came out, I don't know if you guys thought the same thing I was, but when she first came out, I thought I was looking at Shotzi Blackheart, and I was about to say, you ain't Sasha Banks? Yo, where's Sasha? What you do to Sasha? And you zoom in a little closer, the cameras do, and you go, oh snap. Okay, it's actually Sasha Banks. Oh, okay, cool. And the other thing that I loved about Sasha as well, Bianca, excellent performance, but you're only as good as your dance partner. And Sasha Banks really went into this match. I didn't see no egos that was going on there on the part of Sasha. I did not see a Sasha Banks that was overselling, because let's be honest, we've seen that in the past from Sasha. Sasha has done way too much overselling. We've seen some points during her career Sasha has not really played up to that level that we expect when it comes to, okay, so she should be kind of helping this person out, kind of putting them over a little bit or whatever. This was one of those moments where there was no ego, nothing that was going on from the side of Sasha. Sasha did a phenomenal job in really helping Bianca tell that story, ultimately getting Bianca over. We can't take that away from Sasha, right down to the point. Now, I'll have to rely on you guys, because the minute I saw Bianca win the title, I pretty much raced right into this joint, and I was pretty much getting the stream ready. But one of the trademarks that I couldn't stand from Sasha, that would always annoy me, especially when she lost, And I know she talked about this on Stone Cold. I understand and everything now. And she's kind of dialed it back a little bit, but she used to have that calling card where when she would lose a match, she'd be crying her ass off. So I got to ask you guys, because I didn't see what happened. I saw Bianca celebrating. She had the title. But was Sasha crying yet again like her grandmother died or something like that? You know, what happened? Was there a embrace between Bianca and Sasha pretty much doing the D, holding her hand up and then making her exit? What happened there? It kind of seemed like the most of what I saw, Bianca pretty much was left alone in the ring to have her moment. But I'll have to put it back on you guys, because if there's something I might have missed, I definitely want to know from you guys. But I see what you guys are saying in the chat, and I agree with what Millennial is saying in the chat as far as it was a class act. Definitely. It was definitely a class act. Definitely Millennial. Definitely Banks put Bianca over big time. Fucking big time. So good, strong. You know what? It was worthy of closing out the WrestleMania card for night one. We had heard about this news about less than 24 hours ago that these two girls were going to be closing out. And I did not see anybody bitching or moaning. If anything, I just saw a bunch of people saying, fuck yeah, this is cool. They're going to, okay, yeah, all right, let's do it. Okay, cool. So it's nice that it was just so well received. But you know, it never dawned on me until Michael Cole said it, like as soon as the bell rung. First time in WrestleMania history, we have two black women closing out a main event. You know, and he just threw it out there like kind of like, I just pass gas and I don't care. You know, it was kind of like one of those type of deals. And when he said it, I was just on my tablet, I was just taking down some notes, and then I actually did a double take, and I'm like, did Michael Cole just say? And I look over at my girl, I say, did Michael Cole just say what I thought he just said? She's like, what? The thing about two black women closing out. She's like, yeah, he said that. I'm like, whoa, because you know, we can't rewind right now when it comes to Peacock. Now, there is some interesting news with regards to Peacock that I do want to share with you guys. And for you guys that's just tuning in, have no fear. You didn't miss anything. We were just opening up the show talking about that main event match. We're going to get to the rest of the matches in a hot second. But there's an interesting development with regards to Peacock on the WWE Network. And if you guys can bear with me, I can actually share with you the information. I can actually share with you the information that I had saw earlier today. Somebody on the Peacock TV Facebook page had asked Peacock, you know, hey, what's going on as far as an update goes where we can rewind, we can pause, and all this other jazz. And Peacock had actually answered this person directly, and they said player controls will be available on Apple devices for WrestleMania. And we plan to roll this out to the rest of our supported devices by SummerSlam. So, tonight, as far as tonight goes, because most times since I've been messing around with Peacock on my Android or iOS, it's been freezing up a bit here and there. And so ultimately I decide, okay, you know what? I got my Xbox. Let me just download Peacock so I can watch it on the big screen. Otherwise, I would have to go through the tedious process of doing the screen mirror joint. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. Either screen share on Android or do the screen mirroring function on iOS. But apparently, once again, if you got iOS devices as it stands right now, you are able to access player control options. So I guess that consists of rewinding and pausing. So if that was you, let us know how your experience was with the WWE Network tonight. I'll read what you all have to say. And then if you guys are checking this out for on demand and the downloads, just share your feedback throughout social media so it can help everybody else out. But again, that's going to be for Apple devices for WrestleMania. It will not trickle down. Pretty much everybody won't have it for their respective devices, not until by about SummerSlam. Now, they also said this. We also have the event replay available as soon as possible after the live stream has ended. So I think that's kind of cool, right? I mean, that's a little bit of progress, you know, why it's taking kind of as slow as it is. Your guess is as good as mine, but it is what it is. There was no pre-show matches going on for night one of Mania. I know it was kind of like a major question for a lot of people. Could y'all indulge me for a quick second? It's getting a little bit hot, and I want to take a swig, and I'm actually going to turn my ceiling fan on because it's actually getting a little bit hot in here. It's my damn light, so bear with me a second here. And tonight's refreshing beverage of choice, drink responsibly. Please be over the age of 21. I'm drinking Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA. Good shit. Highly recommended. I love my Dogfish Head. But yeah, let's get some fucking air in here. Bear with me a second here, guys. And while I'm doing that, I can use this time to give you guys a nice little reminder here. If you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, y'all can do me a huge favor. And you can hit that like button. You can hit that subscribe. Click on that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all the content that comes your way here on a weekly basis. Because this is night 6 of 8 for our wrestling coverage. We've been doing all things WWE. We mixed in some AEW, some NW talk and all of that. But this is night 6 of 8. We're going to be on Sunday night for 7 of 8, covering WrestleMania, night 2 Fallout. And then we pretty much wrap it up Monday night, Raw after Mania, cover Fallout from that. And then your boy pretty much going to be on vacation after that, because I usually like taking my vacations. All right, see there. Okay. That's already feeling a lot better. I can feel it now. Whew. Okay. So, yeah, your boy going to be on vacation after Monday night. But, yeah, no pre-show matches. So, I mean, that's good. Hopefully that trend continues when it comes to night 2 of Mania. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's doubtful. And I say that because WWE was having some serious issues today when it came to the weather. I'm sure if you guys were connected to social media, unless you were working or you were doing something else otherwise, they were dealing with some serious nasty weather. They were dealing with storms. Some areas down there in Florida were under a hurricane warning, thunderstorm warning, and there was a couple of times there whereas folks pretty much they were filing up at the stadium. WWE on the PA system was pretty much telling them, hey, we just got word, weather advisory that blah, blah, blah is going on. We ask that you leave your seats, you go take proper cover, elsewhere and all that. So, yeah, a couple of those that was going on. I know some of the people that actually were in attendance for Mania, they were sharing what was going on with them. They were actually sharing video footage and all of that, and you're going, oh, okay, wow, this does not look cool. Well, hopefully this will all be resolved by the time Mania comes about. And everybody was kind of wondering with these delays, okay, and it was interesting, and shout out to my boy Rob via Discord and a couple of other people, because the question I had brought up, I said, okay, so who in WWE was not paying attention to the weather going into Mania weekend? Because something like that, you should be able to plan around, and you should be able to, dodge this and have your show go without any problems. And, the information that they provided, it was pretty on point, which was, well, look, we're talking Florida, it's already bizarro world out there, but the weather out there particularly, it's a bit unpredictable. They can say that, okay, by noon, this is going to happen. And then you think you're good for the rest of the day, but then something just comes right back and you got the same problem all over again. It's like, it's for that part, it's a little bit unpredictable, unfortunately. So Stephanie McMahon, she was one of the first that had put out a tweet, and she said that WrestleMania was going to go as planned beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. You're going, okay, well, cool. All right, cool. You go to 8 o'clock, we ain't getting no wrestling. We did not get no wrestling. We pretty much had got our national anthem. I gotta rely on you guys. Who was the voluptuous blonde-haired woman with the boobies again? Who was that was singing? I didn't care for her singing the national anthem. She sounded excruciating to listen to, but I had no problem putting the joint on mute and looking at that banging ass body. I ain't have a problem doing that. I mean, hey, I said something wrong with my hearing. I ain't saying nothing was wrong with my eyes. I liked what I saw now. Ain't no doubt about that. I liked what I saw. I'm sure she's a pretty good singer in her own respected right. I'll definitely check out some of her catalog, but that national anthem just, it wasn't registering with me. But we had a 40-minute delay for WrestleMania. So for those of you that maybe weren't watching it in real time, like some of us were, there was just a lot of killing time. It was so funny because basically what the WWE talents were doing during those 40 minutes, they pretty much were being interviewed backstage. And I believe the young backstage interviewer's name, I believe her name is Sarah Schreiber. Let me know if I messed that name up. Boy, she was shaky as fuck. She came off not really prepared. Now, some people would say, well, no shit, Lee, because they pretty much kind of have to pull an audible here. And nah, man, a good backstage interviewer, their job is just so freaking simple. It's so freaking easy. All you got to do is just pretty much set up the person that you're interviewing, and then you just shut up and you just sell with your face what they're saying and all that. And if you gotta do a little playoff or whatever, depending on how well you've built a rapport with that talent, that can be kind of cool and everything. But it was instances like with what I watched of Schreiber tonight, I missed the Renee Young. I missed the Charlie Caruso, because my girl was just struggling when it came to talking to some of these cats. I mean, big time she was struggling. She even fumbled a bit when it came to interviewing Drew McIntyre. And I couldn't quite catch what Drew had said to her, but I remember at one point after Drew and Lashley with MVP, they pretty much were talking trash to one another. Drew saying to Lashley, come on, you big ballhead son of a bitch. All that talking's over now. I don't give a damn what's going on with Mother Nature out there. I'll beat your ass right here on the spot. Get us a referee. We can do this right now. MVP is trying to, calm the situation down, and both men just continue to trash talk for a little bit. Eventually, MVP is able to get Lashley away, and, they disappear and everything. And as Sarah Schreiber is trying to immediately talk to McIntyre, I think she was actually behind Drew. And Drew just, instincts, he says something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here because it's about 60% accurate, but he says something along the lines of, I can't talk to you if you're behind me, so you need to come over here to my side here. And so she's actually, I'm like, you shouldn't have to have somebody tell you to fucking do all that. You should automatically, and really sell what the hell just went down there. That's the other thing. Anybody can just take a microphone. Anybody can just take a microphone and just, but it takes that person that can be witty off the fly, and just you and I, we've seen so many promotions. We grew up, for most of us fans, we grew up with the best of them. Gene Okerlund at the very top. Perfect scenario. And Renee Young would have capitalized as well. Would have capitalized as well. I'm not buying that shit about it was a planned conversation. If you're talking about between Drew McIntyre and, Lashley, MVP, I'm not talking about the superstars having the issues that they came off like, okay, we got to kill time. I'm not buying that, first of all, because remember, we're talking about a 40-minute delay with what was going on with the rainstorm and all that. It's easy to say, oh, that was planned when, you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, no. Because let's dial back a little bit. WWE, at the end of the day, they've got a responsibility to still those that pay for pay-per-view via cable or satellite. I know that sounds crazy in 2021 because we got Peacock and WWE for the American audience. Why would you not take advantage of, what is it, $250 a month basically? Why would you not take advantage of that? But folks, you still got people that, I'll pay the $40, $50, $60. Okay. So WWE's got a responsibility to those people that's paying via cable or satellite. So the last thing that they want to do is put themselves in a position where you got a motherfucker that goes, oh shit, these people might ask for a refund. So that's the last thing that WWE wants to, especially when, we're supposed to start this, we're supposed to start doing our thing at this time. Okay, let's get it popping, let's get it rolling. No, they're not gonna, no, right? Now, you may spin that and say, well, what about the people that's paying what they're paying for Peacock to watch the WWE? Believe it or not, these people that's paying their hard-earned dollars, even if it's $5, even if they took advantage and they're doing the whole promotional deal where it's $10 for the next 4 months, and they're basically, they're paying $250 a month. They don't give a fuck. They too are consumers at the end of the day that's investing their money and time into a product, and they're expecting for something to start accordingly. No, there is no such thing in this particular case. Oh, it was planned. No, because even if you were to say, okay, well, these were kind of planned. Maybe these guys, to a certain degree, they loosely had a little bit of talking with each other, and they gave some bullet prints out there. Bullet points. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Bullet prints. They gave each other some bullet points, and they pretty much were just going out there, being loose with it and everything. We're not talking about that. I never criticized that. So make sure you're paying attention to what I'm saying exactly. What I said was the Sarah Schreiber chick came off very unprepared. She was very, very much exposed tonight for how green she is. She's got a long ways to go. Because if that would have been a Renee Young, if that would have been a Corey Graves, if that would have been a Mauro Ranallo, if that would have been insert whoever you want to insert, they would have been smooth as I don't know what. And that Lashley McIntyre joint is a prime example because she's behind Drew, and Drew has to say to her what he said to her, and she just has the mic in his face and all that after this guy just had a very heated exchange there with Lashley. She didn't do a good of enough job really playing up to it and everything, So now the other guy, I can't think of his name right now, especially when Seth Rollins came to the scene and he kept fucking with his name. He kept calling him Mike or whatever. Some Englishman, I can't think of his name right now. He did okay, but he was very generic. He was very, that's good. You want to have them be in the background and really help put over the talent and everything. That's ultimately what it's all about. We don't need no GQ looking motherfucker backstage, right? We don't really need all that. But my compliment to WWE for the 40 minutes that they essentially had to kill time. They did a really good job in just scrounging around, doing what they needed to do until we finally were able to get the action underway. First match of the card, we got ourselves, I couldn't believe this was actually opening up the pay-per-view too. But everything opened up with Drew McIntyre taking on Bobby Lashley for that WWE championship. And I gotta tell you, you know what? I was quite taken back by the fact that those two opened it up. But I sure as hell loved it. I said, okay, if this is how we're going to essentially set the tone here for night one, opening up, okay, let's go ahead. Let's go there. both of these fine young men went out there and they hit a home run. The crowd, I was paying attention to the crowd here for this opener, because we got to remember at this point, these fans have been sitting around. They've been anxious. All that energy, right? All that energy that they've had bottled up and everything. I got to tell you, I was very concerned there, because even when we were about to go into that 40-minute delay, when the pay-per-view first opened up, we had the fans that were in attendance. They did a nice shot. They showed some of the fans that were in attendance, and the fans were busy looking at their phones. Some were just looking around. And this is after all the pyro and everything goes off. And the fans are just sitting around, and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus fucking Christ, what's wrong with you guys? We're here. It's WrestleMania. Jump up and down. Get excited. Let us hear you and everything. But then we find out kind of what's going on with those fans, why they weren't, and that was because we were still in a little bit of a weather advisory. So now, 40 minutes later, right? Just think about that. You probably get there to the arena. I've been to enough WWE events, and if you want to put yourself in a really good opportunity where you're getting the best merch that's possible at the tables, you want to get an idea on where your seats are, get an idea of the navigation and all that, get some food, drinks and all that. Hey, you driving? Because if you're driving, you definitely need to make sure that you definitely get there early so you can have your nice little share of a good parking spot and all that. Or are you going to take public transportation? Right? So you got to think about all of these things. But basically, most of these people, I know from experience, you want to get up there about 3-4 hours early. Now, some people may say that's a little bit overkill, but nah, man, especially if you got money you're trying to burn on merchandise. And you want to be in the best position in the line possible so you can go in, do what you need to do. Because you ask any wrestling fan, especially a WWE fan, when it comes to these events, what's one of the first things that they're doing? They trying to hurry up and go right to the merch tables. Because they know they're going to be able to get exclusive fucking shit at the merch tables. WrestleMania time too? Oh yeah, you need to come up off of that exclusive merch, right? But Lashley, McIntyre, was paying attention to the crowd reactions for this one, and I gotta tell you, it went exactly the way I thought it was gonna go down. As far as Drew being overwhelmingly received, Lashley getting mixed reactions, but it wasn't a case for Lashley where it was, oh, there's a decent amount of people that's sitting on their hands for Lashley. No. You heard cheers and you heard boos for Lashley. So, my motto, you've been listening to me long enough. My motto is go out there, just get some type of reaction. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. Last thing you want is a dead crowd. Because if you got a dead crowd, that's going to hurt the fuck out of your longevity. Straight up. That's one-on-one right there. Just get some type of reaction. So it was great hearing these guys get the reactions that they were getting out. But I was most curious about Lashley. Because after all, this is officially the first time that we got to see Lashley as the new champion in front of a crowd. And so it went over very well. Can I just say once again, I love Bobby Lashley's entrance. I just love that music and the whole gold lightning and seeing him beating the crap out of people. I just love all of that, just visually. It's fucking beautiful. I love it. Bobby Lashley still your WWE champion. I got no problem with this move whatsoever. Love how this pretty much came about too. I know Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander were banned from ringside, but there was still just that little part of me that was kind of wondering, what might happen here? Is it possible that they could interfere as maybe two masked assailants and somehow, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't help but have that going on in the back of my head, but they did not come out. But you were then kind of left to the impression, well, is somebody going to come out? Because you kind of heard the rumors that were going on there, but nobody came out. Only person that was there at ringside was MVP. You know, he did run a little bit of interference in there in the closing moments, but I love the way that Drew was built up here. You know, it was basically following up from the great matches that Drew McIntyre had with Sheamus, and you know, you've been watching the WWE product. You already know what's been going on with Drew these past couple of months. So it was nice seeing him go into Mania, the great build up that they continue to give for Drew. But then look at how good of a job that they did in storyline building up Lashley there. You have fucking Lashley go through 3 Future Shock DDTs. And you're like, oh, there's no way in hell 3 Future Shock DDTs. Oh, shit. That's over. Man, this dude's done. Somehow, Lashley manages to kick out of it. There was a couple of times there where Drew McIntyre was looking for the glass is my damn aligners. You guys got to work with me. The glass glow kick. And both times I remember Lashley managed to roll out. One of those times MVP actually grabbed him and, you know, helped him outside the ring and everything. He got that nice sweet ass spot where McIntyre pretty much leaped himself over the top ropes, crashed into both men. You're going, okay, see what's going on here. See exactly what's going on here. All right. But then closing moments of this one, we saw Drew McIntyre. He tried to go up to the top rope looking for a high risk, high reward maneuver. Lashley managed to counter and catch him in a full Nelson lock. He wasn't able to get that full torque in. He wasn't able to get both hands clutched in there as McIntyre was able to kick out of it. They went on for a little bit longer. Lashley managed to connect. Actually, no. Lashley, he was looking for a spine buster, but then Drew counters it with a Kimura lock. And at this point, you're seeing Drew with that Kimura lock on Lashley, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, shit, earlier we saw the spot where he crashed over the top rope. He did the 3 Future Shock DDTs. Now he's got this Kimura lock, and not for nothing, he was kind of focusing a little bit on that arm earlier in the night. This could definitely be it for Lashley. You know, you could say that, but then you also kind of have to take a step back and say, well, wait a minute now. Lashley got that whole MMA background. Nah, man. Yeah, visually, Drew McIntyre looks like a big, tall, strong, tough son of a bitch, but I don't know about this one. Just having Lashley just tap out, like, come on. Luckily, he reaches for the top rope, or the middle rope, bottom rope, one of those. He managed to reach it, and it got broken, everything. McIntyre tried to look for the Glasgow Kiss once again. This time, MVP, this was it right here. He pretty much distracted the referee and at the same time managed to distract Drew McIntyre. And Lashley was able to capitalize off of that. And with that capitalization, retain in strong, dominant fashion his WWE Championship. So this was good. You know, if you were going into Mania and you were rooting for Lashley to retain, congratulations, my friends. You got your wish. I have been enjoying the era of the Almighty, and there's just so much. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface with Lashley as champion. To the point of what Israel said in the chat just a couple of minutes ago, you know, with regards to Brock Lesnar. You know, I mean, we be saying this till we're all blue in the face, but ever since this whole Hurt Business kind of came about, and some of us kind of saw that vision of, you know, Lashley as champion, and we're getting ourselves, you know, we're working ourselves up in a frenzy, saying to ourselves, you know, it'd be kind of badass if ultimately we saw Lashley, Lesnar. And what have I been saying this whole time? You've been listening to me long enough. I've been telling you guys straight up, Lashley, Lesnar, SummerSlam. There you go. Sells in itself right there. Sells in itself right there. But that's a little bit of a stretch. We got a couple of months to go until SummerSlam, right? So in the meantime, it's okay. Well, how do you kill time? What do we do? Who's the opponents for Lashley going to be in the interim? There's a couple of different directions you can go. You could definitely eventually go in a Samoa Joe direction. You could definitely take the time out to really do a better job in building up Keith Lee, reintroducing him to the WWE and all that, and he'd be a good opponent for Lashley. You could definitely slide in there. I don't know what's going on with Aleister Black. I really don't. I don't know if at this point, main roster, or he's going back to NXT, or if he's going to get a release. But there's an interesting option right there, you know, with regards to Aleister Black. You could do something with Damien Priest. You got a few options there. You got some really, really good options. Even under the right circumstance, do a proper build-up of Ricochet. You could even do something really cool with Ricochet. And then let's not also forget, I did mention Shelton Benjamin earlier. You could even do something with Shelton Benjamin. So anything is possible right now. I mean, y'all can think about your own combinations, but anything is possible. Those are the real names right now. Because, I mean, you don't need that many opponents just to get the Lesnar. Because remember, SummerSlam is usually, usually that's like July, August type of deal. So, and we're already in April. So think about that. We're talking May, June, July. So, I mean, you really just need about 3, potentially 4 opponents that can keep Lashley occupied until you get to Lesnar, Lashley, SummerSlam. But I'm definitely with you guys. I would like to believe that this is something that WWE has been thinking about for a long time, and it's just been a matter of the timing, you know, getting everything aligned, and okay, well, we make it stick, but is it going to be banging? Because if it ain't going to be banging, then, and now that things are banging on all cylinders, now you can definitely go there. Oh yeah, by the way, before opening up Lashley and Drew, we got to see Titus O'Neil and the Immortal Hulk Hogan as they pretty much welcomed us to night 1 of WrestleMania. I got to tell you, the crowd was a little bit, we know you do good things around the neighborhood and all that. So Titus, you know, he got his nice little golf claps, he got a few cheers and all that. But man, every single time the Hulkster had opened his mouth, well, let me tell you something, brother. Every time he opened his mouth, you heard boos. No bullshit. You heard boos. I laughed my ass off. I just sat back. I had my hands over my chest, and I was just loving it. I just laughed my ass off. I loved it. They were very quiet during his shit, but you heard boos. It was so bad, WWE decided, okay, we need to pipe in some crowd noises here, because this isn't the type of reactions we want for the Hulkster here. Let's see if we can do something with that. I just cringe. I just get off the stage already. Like, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to hear from you. Like, all the people, and this is what we got. Like, we get this guy. Like, come on, like, seriously. But I thought that was really hilarious. After the Lashley McIntyre match, backstage segment, we got to see Bayley. Remember, some of you guys that were with me on Friday night, you had a couple of ideas there for Bayley and everything. Well, we kind of got a little something with regards to Bayley. She showed up backstage, chatting it up with Titus, Hulkster, and the rest of the members of the NWO. And she was trying to do her best to get a nice little too sweet hand gesture, and none of them were trying to hook her up. They all decided to split up and look for something to eat, basically. So hilarious shit. But, it was nice to see Bayley there. I'm still kind of curious what exactly is going to be happening with Bayley, if at all, for WrestleMania weekend. Just a little bit that we got tonight, that was enough to kind of whet the curiosity appetite a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping we get a little bit more, something a little bit more we can sink our teeth into Sunday night. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Second match of the evening. I'm not really clusterfuck, just sloppy, botchy. Those are the things that really come into mind when it comes to this match. Let me take a quick swig here. Of course, the match I'm talking about had to do with, I was about to call them divas. They're not divas, but boy, I'll tell you what, some of them are deserving of that name. Natalya, Tamina, Riot Squad members Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose. Am I missing anybody here? Billie Kay, Carmella. It was the tag team Turmoil match. By the way, first matchup went about 18 minutes, 20 seconds. Your second match, your tag team Turmoil matchup, that went about 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Just sloppy, botchy, all the way around. All the way around. This was, it was a headache. This was a headache to watch. You know, I looked at this, and one of the things that just screamed to me, what the fuck are we doing with this woman? Carmella. Yeah, previous years, I was a little bit hard on Carmella. I didn't really see the, you know, what all the fuss was about with her and everything. I really didn't see that much in her. But I tell you what she's been doing these past several months, I mean, she's really upped her game. And I still feel in my heart of hearts that, okay, this whole thing with Carmella, Billie Kay, what the fuck? Really? Like Carmella at this juncture of her career, everything that she's shown us so far, no, she's better than this. She's better than this. Why is she being relegated to... I just felt that was a disservice to how hard she's been putting in the time and the effort. So that right there, it just really left me scratching my head quite a bit. Out of all the women that was in this tag team Turmoil, for me, she performed definitely, the strongest, I would have to say. She did pretty good. I was a little bit surprised at the fact that Billie Kay and Carmella got eliminated so quickly, like from the get-go, pretty much. I thought they were gonna at least eliminate one team, but that did not happen. So, Lana, Naomi, they got eliminated by Billie Kay, Carmella. Riot Squad, they come up next. Billie Kay and Carmella, they got eliminated by the Riot Squad. Carmella, in true heel-like fashion, she super kicks the shit out of both of them. And then at that point, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke came out. Mandy had her sunglasses on that night, and I don't know, maybe it was a wet spot at the ramp. I don't know what it was. She tripped. She fell on her nice cushion behind. And, it was kind of one of those, ooh. And that right there just pretty much summed up this match in a nutshell. When it's all said and done, it pretty much summed up just how I really feel about the match in a nutshell, honestly. But Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, they came up next. They looked a little okay. They looked a little all right. We had more of a clusterfuck because, we just can't get enough of these. We had major confusion that came about as, okay, so apparently Riot Squad legitimately advanced because Liv Morgan, if I remember it right, she pinned Dana Brooke, I believe, or it might have been Mandy. They're both blonde. So it's, you gotta forgive me, guys. If one of them had a nice streak or a different hair color, I'd fucking remember. By the way, can we please get the official trademark for who is supposed to be the Harley Quinn in the WWE? 1 minute, it's fucking Alexa Bliss. To a certain degree, I still think it's Alexa Bliss. But then I see Liv Morgan, and I mean literally, she has gone for the Harley Quinn Suicide Squad look. And I'm just going, oh, okay, who's got dibs on this, like, officially? Because I'm confused, and we've seen enough over the years. Alexa Bliss, she likes going that route. So, to see Liv Morgan kind of, go this route too, it's like, somebody just call official dibs so that we know when, okay, that's that person. For a second, I thought Alexa Bliss was in there. And I knew better than to think that, but you get the point that I'm making. But we got more of a clusterfuck here because the referee calls that it was actually the team of Mandy and Dana that defeated Riot Squad. And you're going, wait a minute. That didn't quite look like what I just saw from the TV viewing point. No, it looked like Riot Squad actually had advanced. And you got Cole in the gang. They're quick to say, that's the wrong call, people. Like, we're letting you know that. And when you hear that, you're thinking to yourself, so what really went down here? A little bit curious. And then sure enough, they show the instant replay and you got Corey Graves. Yeah, it's as clear as day, people. It's like, see? Like, no, it was actually the team of Riot Squad that actually won here. So no doubt about it. No controversy, folks. So, hold the horses. Don't be so quick to say something on Twitter and like, okay, all right, cool. But that was just sloppy in itself right there. I don't know if that was the case right there where the referee was at fault. You could kind of make that argument. You could make that argument, but that was just sloppy. Final team came out. Natalya, Tamina having the nice black, metallic blue type of deal going on. I was kind of feeling her attire, man. I got to tell you, she was looking extra sensuous tonight. I just was looking at Tamina and I just wanted to break out in a song when I saw Tamina tonight, man. I just looked at her and I just, you're contagious, touch me, baby, drive me wild, sexy lady. Y'all know that song. You listen to your rap and your hip hop enough. You know that song I'm talking about. I just look at it, I'm like, all right, Tamina. Good strong effort there by my girls Tamina and Natty. Tamina didn't do too much in there, but she did just enough that, I gotta tell you, I was kind of wondering what was going on here because I saw a little bit too much showboating that was going around with Natty, and I'm thinking, oh shit, here we go. This is where the screws come in. Tamina, Natty, they're gonna go over. And that wasn't the case at all because you just saw a lot of procrastinating there from Natty. Tamina did most of the work. Only thing Natty has to pretty much do after she got the tag in was pretty much just either do a sharpshooter, go in for your dub or whatever. But she did so much showboat and you're like, okay, what's going on here? And finally, she had asked for Tamina to climb up to the top rope and do her snooker splash. And she went on ahead and did it. But then even at that, I was thinking, okay, she's going to do the snooker splash and all that, but there's going to be some fuckery here. Either Homegirl's going to get her knees up and Tamina's going to... But no, Tamina was able to do the splash and everything. And pretty much the 1, 2, 3, Tamina, Natty, they are your tag team Turmoil winners. So night 2 of WrestleMania, they will take on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for those Raw women's tag team titles or the women's tag titles. They're going to be taking them on for that. Third matchup of the evening, Seth Rollins taking on Cesaro. Leave it to 2 Ring of Honor alumni on the biggest stage of them all to go out there and hit a fucking home run. Soon as many of us had heard that it was going to be Rollins, Cesaro at WrestleMania, and those of us that had been following the ROH product for many years, we're going automatically instant classic. We're going newer WWE fans. Y'all gonna be in for a special treat because you're gonna be watching a classic matchup right here. And it definitely delivered as far as of all the matches for the night. Like as far as like my top 2 for night 1. Number 1 would definitely be actually yeah, for the historic purposes and all of that, and just being a big fan of Bianca's, I would definitely put Bianca and Sasha at number 1, but my number 2 is definitely Rollins and Cesaro. I can't wait to see what happens with night 2 and who's going to rise to the occasion there. I'm particularly eyeballing Apollo and Big E. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping they deliver an instant classic. But then you also got to remember, we got 2 other Ring of Honor vets that's going to be facing each other in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So that could rise to the level of what we got with Rollins and Cesaro. Seth Rollins got a new theme that, I was ready for the, burn it down. We didn't get that. Or as Paul Heyman, you see that Paul Heyman infamous gif. I was ready for that. We didn't get that. And I guess ultimately this is pretty much, I guess, backlash or whatever you want to call it, with regards to the whole CFO and all that other shit. It's going to take me a while to get used to this new theme, but I did like it. I did like the new theme. To the point, Cesaro's theme kind of sounded a bit altered as well. I'm not really sure if you guys had picked up on it. I heard this had actually aired during SmackDown. I didn't see it, but I laughed hysterically at the Seth Rollins campaign ad that played when they were pretty much revisiting the vignette package for how this feud came about and all that. And I love hearing the little Seth Rollins part, paid for by the friends of Seth Rollins or whatever, not endorsed by Seth Rollins, however the fuck they had spun it. I just thought that was pure fucking genius, the way that they went in there and they fucking did that. I love that. I chuckled hard at that. Look, I guess Seth Rollins has gotten to that point in his career where he is aware that for some people, he comes off a bit loud. He comes off obnoxious, right? And he's essentially kind of playing off of that, right down to the point he is wearing these loud outfits, and it's so funny because I actually don't hate Seth Rollins. I don't. Like, as far as his choice of suits go and all that with what he wears, I don't hate his fashion style. You know who he reminds me a lot of? And I'm surprised a lot of people have not connected with this yet. I really, really am. You'll get it, though. He reminds me a lot of the late Craig Sager. Those of you that follow basketball, think about it. That was Craig Sager's fucking trademarks, was the colorful, abstract, loud fucking suits. Craig Sager would wear these suits, and you and me would just go, fuck no, I would never wear that. Now, it's one thing if you or I would go, a pink suit, pink collar, pink tie, hot pink tie, pink shoes, pink leather shoes. Nah, man, nah, hell no. But Craig Sager, shit. Craig Sager, he was not indiscriminate when it came to fashion. If it got him noticed, he would fucking wear it. So when I look at Seth Rollins, he's got that kind of element about him, and he's just amping it up when it comes to the littlest things, as far as what we think is very irritating about him, from his or whatever. Lord, just imagine if that was on loop for just 30 minutes of Seth Rollins. Jesus Christ. But no, his ad campaign that he had there, and bringing up the fact that Cesaro, he's never had a good match, a good singles match at WrestleMania or whatever, however they spun that shit. That was just hilarious. And how they were putting over Seth Rollins, I was just like, okay, that's cool. The sweet ass spot there where Cesaro managed to successfully counter Seth Rollins' stomp, but then Seth Rollins pretty much, okay, so you dodged my curb stomp? Okay, well, all right, I got you later on. But just the fact that Seth Rollins tried to look for that curb stomp, and Cesaro pretty much was able to counter with the European uppercut. I lost my shit. I was like, okay, that's a good ass fucking counter. It was just executed so fucking good. You got some of these signature moves and you got some of these spots where sometimes it kind of comes off like it's a bit ballet-ish, but I mean, it was just very fluid with these guys. Best analogy I could use, it was just basically like turning on the water faucet, and it was just perfect the way it came out of the pipe. Whereas it was just a drip or one of them type of deals. They flow very well together. I love the spot there where Cesaro connected with the UFO, and then he went into the Cesaro swing. No bullshit. I've never seen Cesaro do the UFO because I haven't been watching enough SmackDown. So if that's something that he's been doing and he pretty much introduced on SmackDown, new to me. Because I remember when he was on Raw, I've always remembered the Cesaro swing. I ain't know nothing about no UFO joint. So as soon as I heard the UFO, he's getting ready to possibly do the UFO, I'm going, fuck is the UFO? Then when I see it, I'm going, okay, that's pretty badass. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But that was fucking smooth in itself when he did the UFO on Rollins, and then it essentially went into a nice transition into the Cesaro swing. Very fucking good. Very fucking good. Cesaro going over, picking up the dub. Loved it. I felt this was the right move. It almost kind of goes back to what I had said again less than 24 hours ago on the show, which was look at how Rollins, say what you will about Rollins, but you look at what Rollins essentially did for Dominic Mysterio there, really getting behind him, really trying to help get that young guy over and everything. And, as soon as I first heard Cesaro Rollins Mania, I'm going, oh shit, like, okay, the stars must be aligning here, and maybe Cesaro is in for a push here, because, okay, he's working with Rollins, and I'm just thinking about it, I'm going, nah, there's no way Rollins is going to go over on this one. This kind of feels like the tides are changing here for the better. I just kind of felt like Rollins definitely, maybe to a certain degree, might have been jockeying to not only have this match, but talk to the powers that be. Let's start getting behind Cesaro. Like, what more do you need and everything? So I like the story arc that has been a little bit that I have seen from SmackDown. I like what I've been seeing and how they've pretty much been elevating Cesaro and everything. Where could Cesaro go next after this? He could go after the Intercontinental Championship next, or he could potentially go after the WWE Champion next. Definitely. But I think this was that milestone victory that he definitely needed there. Like, the fans have always been behind Cesaro, always. Never an issue with him in the ring, right? I mean, the one issue, if you even want to call it an issue, Cesaro in the promos, and I think WWE over the years has been silly with using that against Cesaro, because Cesaro knows the fundamentals for cutting a good promo. Look, there's some people on the roster and various promotions you look at and you say, yeah, go out there and kill about 10 minutes just cutting up your opponent. You're good at talking. Just go ahead, go out there. Guy like Cesaro, hey man, just go out there, talk trash for about 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, and that's all we need. And I'm okay with that. So hopefully, what's going on here, it all ain't for nothing, and there's bigger things on the horizon and everything. I know I've made a couple of bold predictions, and not for nothing, but over the years, some of those predictions I've made, it's come to fruition within that time frame. If Cesaro is still in WWE by December 31st, 2023, and he has not become a WWE champion by then, yo, we gotta have a serious talk, and we gotta be like, what's going on there? Seriously, what's going on with our boy Cesaro? Because that don't make no sense. Next matchup. Oh, actually, right before that, backstage segment. I forgot who was interviewing who, but was it Kayla Braxton? Maybe it was Kayla, or maybe it was Sarah Schreiber yet again. But somebody was chatting it up with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, and they basically were there, taking in all the sights and sounds of WrestleMania Night 1, but they also wanted to look at the upcoming tag team match between New Day, AJ Styles, and Omas, and they pretty much gave New Day their props and everything, but at the same time, they also said, nah, you really got to watch out for AJ and Omas. Omas hasn't wrestled before. He's that wild card. AJ Styles, he truly is phenomenal. I would never bet against AJ. So we're going to be watching this match closely. So, you can't help but kind of wonder too. If what we saw tonight between, what are they called now? The dirty boys, whatever the hell their name is, the dirty bosses, whatever, dirty socks, whatever you want to call them, dirty something, dirty motherfuckers. How about that? Dirty motherfuckers. That's what I'm going to call them from here on out. The dirty motherfuckers. I don't know if maybe somewhere down the road we might see AJ Omas take on those dirty boys. Maybe a tag team title unification match. Remember what I was saying last night? Like, too many titles. Now's the time right now to maybe consider condensing some of your titles. Make a lot of sense. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Next matchup, Omas, AJ Styles taking on New Day for the Raw Tag titles. Good psychology with this matchup. I love the fact that New Day pretty much went into this and said, we got to do everything in our power to make sure that big son of a bitch, Omas, does not get tagged in. Because if he gets tagged in, dude, that's game over. Seriously, we got to do everything in our power to make sure he don't get tagged in. So I love that psychology. I mean, it was above and beyond, your typical, deny him from getting in the hot tag. It was, there was a lot of thought process put into this creatively. I personally felt it was just the little things too. It wasn't like they were over exaggerated with the ideas that they had. It was just little touches here and there. So for instance, you got one spot where AJ Styles, he really wants to tag Omas, and he decides, okay, I'm being denied. I'm gonna just roll out of the ring and I'll pretty much run to the other side. I'll slide back in, get in the tag. Omas is the legal guy. There we go. And you got basically, I don't know who was the legal man in New Day, but you had one guy that basically, once they kind of realized what AJ was getting ready to do, they pretty much slid on out, and they were trying to, kind of derail them a little bit from going the long way to try to get into Omas. So that forced AJ to go the opposite way. And then you've got the other guy from New Day. It might have been Kofi, I don't know. But the other guy, he basically slides out of the ring, catches AJ on, almost kind of like, actually, no. Did he slide out? No, he didn't even, wait a minute, let me think. One guy went out and the other guy tried to, I think the other guy from New Day might have got out, but then hurry up and slid back in, and he pretty much was able to stop AJ. But it was just little shit like that was, ooh, this is tight. Like, okay, that's the kind of creative input that I'm talking about. Okay, good shit. Good psychology. And then ultimately, when Omas was tagged, you're just going, well, that's it. Stick a fork in it. It's done. And I just love the little things. In this case, those little things is Kofi, Xavier Woods, selling the hell out of the fact that, oh man, Omas, he just got tagged in. Oh my God, dude, we're so fucked now. I just love the little things such as the facial expressions that they were making. I love the fact that with their body language and the fact that they were petrified and they were kind of backing up a little, they're on the floor, they're on their asses in the corners respectfully, and they're looking at Omas, and to just basically break your neck, quote that Busta Rhymes song, you're just breaking your neck looking up. I thought the camera work was really, really phenomenal right there, and really telling that story of, okay, yeah, this is, watch out now. Omas did pretty good. He didn't really do too much. I would put it basically on the level of Great Khali. That's not a diss. Just because I say Great Khali, that doesn't mean it's a diss, okay? But when I say Great Khali, what I mean by that basically is look menacing, talk shit, do a chop, do a clothesline, do a two-handed power slam, and do a power bomb. Now, some of you guys that's hearing that, you're going, well, shit, Lee, that's a lot more than Khali would do. Khali just, chop a fucking head like he's trying to crack a fucking coconut or whatever. But for the little bit that Omas was in there in the ring and everything, I mean, he did pretty good. I love the sweet ass spot where AJ Styles at one point, he decides to do a phenomenal forearm by jumping on the top rope and then jumping on Omas's shoulders to leap himself off of Omas and do the phenomenal forearm to one of the New Day guys. I mean, that was just visually a sweet ass fucking spot. Didn't even see it coming either. Like, I loved it. It was laid out beautifully. Good shit right there. Team of Omas, AJ, they click very well together. Very well together. Shout out to New Day for, really doing a good job and putting, telling the story, telling that psychology there, but then really selling big time for Omas and making him come off like that menacing threat and everything. AJ Styles, Omas, your new Raw Tag Team Champions. There are some dark days ahead for that tag team division, man. Now you just can't help but wonder who's gonna step up. Who's going to step up and who's going to eventually maybe dethrone those Raw Tag Champions. Look, I ain't trying to see New Day. I'm telling you guys that I ain't trying to see New Day. Don't hit me up with no New Day. I need New Day to take a little break. What are they now? Like 11-time champions or whatever? 11-time tag team champions? Like, I need to see them take a break. And, if anything, let's just properly try to build up the tag division a little more. I still feel we need to do ultimately that tag team title unification thing and just let tag teams just fluctuate between both shows to take on that respected tag champion and everything, tag team champions and everything. But good shit. I love Omas' ring attire too. I love how he pretty much went out there and he pretty much was dressed like, he kind of was dressed like MC Hammer from Pumps and a Bump. I'm not talking about the original video either of Pumps and a Bump. I know the original one, it was MC Hammer and all he was wearing was some barely thin Speedos and he just pumps and a bump. We like the girls with the pumps and a bump. Nah, I'm talking about the I guess you dub it the gangster version music video of Pumps and the Bump. Just looking at Omas, he kind of had the chain going on. And he's wearing something black shirt or something under. Okay. And he's got the nice little long sleeve, little jacket on and everything. It's like, oh, okay. So you decided to, just dress casually, going into this matchup. Oh, well, right on, brother. Like, this really shouldn't be that much of a workout for you. Right. And then finally, when he gets to the ring and he takes off the jacket, you go, oh, okay. So he kind of had on like this silky type of turtleneck, if you will, no sleeves. And you're like, God damn, I mean, his arms were, man, just fucking jacked, man. Like, okay, all right. And then you look at his pants and his pants kind of came off a bit. What's the right word I'm looking for? It wasn't Speedos. It came off wrestling stylish like, but definitely it wasn't jeans either per se. I can't really describe it. If you watched it, you know exactly what I mean. You know exactly what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Next matchup on the card, Shane McMahon taking on Braun Strowman, steel cage match. Ooh. Oh, I look, I was so glad that we just got to this match and just, me personally, I told you guys, Braun Strowman. I just want Braun to win so the feud can be over. I don't care for this story arc. I don't care for Braun Strowman. This is for every single body that got bullied in their life. This is for you. This is for you. And this is for you. Choo choo. I just wanted to be done with this. I love Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon actually grew up in the DMV area. All right. Love Shane McMahon. He's, him and his family, they got close ties. So I'll always love Shane. Love him. But this for me was not one of his finest moments. This whole feud, it just was not one of his finest moments. I just didn't care for it. This played out exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Braun Strowman coming out, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so when is Braun going to go from Savage Hawk to Grey Hawk? And as we all know, Grey Hawk was pretty sophisticated, especially when it came to his fucking money. Joe Fix-It. Joe Fix-It Hawk. And he's pretty savvy. And, you're looking at this and you're like, oh, okay, so yeah, what's going on here? Surely Strowman has thought, long and hard. He's thought in advance about Elias, and I like to call him Will Riker. Y'all know who I'm talking about, though. Jason Riker, but I'm gonna call him Will Riker. You're thinking, okay, what do you got to counter these guys? Because they're probably going to try to run some type of interference. So what's maybe going to happen? Is he going to lay them out beforehand somewhere backstage? Shane McMahon is pretty much all alone to fight against Braun. What exactly is going to happen here? And, once you see Braun Strowman pretty much come out to his music and everything, you're going, okay. So most likely he's going to get jumped as he's on his way to going inside that steel cage by Riker Elias. Sure enough, went exactly as planned. They softened him up, put him in there for Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon was continuing on the assault. Eventually Elias and Riker, they just disappear. I don't know. Maybe their Hot Pockets were ready from the microwave and, pizza rolls. I don't know what the fuck. Something must have been ready because they disappeared. And Shane was just out there fending for himself. But then eventually Strowman gets back on the offense. They continue on for a hot little bit. One-on-one. Nice little spots there where Shane was climbing on top of the steel cage. And, he's getting these foreign objects. I love how at one point Shane McMahon goes to the top and, he's going in like this, it kind of looks like a laundry tote bag, right? It kind of looks like one of those type of just like a little laundry tote bag. And you're like, oh, what's in there? Because it's just kind of almost dangling at the top of the steel cage structure. You're like, oh, what's he got in there? And Shane O'Mac just pulls out this red toolbox and he just clocks Braun Strowman over the head with the damn thing. You're going, oh, yeah, that'll do it. That'll pretty much do it to you, yeah. So I like seeing that spot visually. That was kind of cool. That was, I won't say innovative, but it's like I've never seen anybody on top of a steel cage dig into a little mystery bag, throw a goddamn toolbox at somebody. I thought that was actually kind of funny and cool. So props to that little spot. There was one other joint where he grabbed something else out of a little tote bag. I don't know what was in it now. I can't quite remember. But seeing Shane McMahon climb up a couple of times, Braun trying to give chase and everything, I thought all that was pretty cool. I like how we pretty much got down to the final moments, though, where Shane does another sick-ass spot. And at this point, we're thinking, okay, Shane is probably gonna now just climb on out, take his dub, right? But he gets to the top of that steel cage, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Is he maybe gonna do that flying trademark elbow? Could he maybe do that to Braun? Is he that cocky? Is he feeling that arrogant? Doesn't happen. So he pretty much, I was ready for that spot too, but I guess Shane said, nah, that's too safe. I want to do something that's insane this year. And boy, was it insane. So Shane McMahon, he's pretty much over the top of the steel cage and he's blowing kisses at Braun Strowman, after he's pretty much, laid him out or whatever. Braun, like, somehow he just comes to, second burst of energy, comes to, jumps up on the steel cage, actually is grabbing on to the fingers and all that of Shane. And Shane's like, what the hell? And I just love that visual of Braun so pissed off, he manages to rip a section of the cage off and he's just unpeeling it like it's a goddamn fucking, he's just going in that bad boy, almost like he's just rolling some pizza dough. He's just cranking it. Finally, he gets his bare hands on Shane O'Mac and tosses his ass back in the ring or whatever. Some fighting happens almost to the top of the steel cage. This is where it gets balls out stupid. Shane McMahon basically gets tossed from the top of the steel cage. Doesn't hit an announce table or anything like that. No. He basically, it's almost like not a backflip, but the way Braun tosses Shane. You're going, from that height, you're going, oh, Shane can't be good right there. Shane cannot. And you see how Shane lands. You're like, okay, obviously Shane's been kind of practicing this. Okay, cool. He lands on his back, but still from that height. And Shane is now in his 50s. It's like, okay, well, one, I'm glad you did this spot for people here on the grandest stage of them all for WrestleMania and all that other shit. But it was not needed. Really, it was not needed. We'd have been fine with you doing your trademark elbow from the top. You want to do something radical? Put a steel chair on top of Braun or in between his neck or his arm, and you can just pretty much, from the top of the steel cage for all we care. But to do that spot from that height and you land on your back, that for me, I cringed. I cringe. I think anybody would cringe, no matter how long you hear, oh, well, this person has been a pro wrestler since blah, 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 blah. Oh, they've done this many matches and, but no. That height and the way you land, like, I thought for sure that was it. Match is over. Braun comes down, goes for the cover, 3 count. We're done. We're out. No. We're not. We got to add even more insult to injury, but not in the type of fashion like what we just saw. Instead, we got to get Braun Strowman. This is for every single body that got picked in their entire life that got bullied. This is for you. This is for you. This is for you. He pretty much picks up Shane O'Mac, does his running power slam. So as if falling from the top steel cage structure, landing on your fucking back, wasn't enough. We also got to do a running power slam to add insult to injury to that back some more. So, 3 count. Braun wins. Thank God the feud is over. But Shane O'Mac, look, I love Shane McMahon. Me and my friends, so many memories. I mean, who doesn't have a favorite Shane McMahon moment? It's like, dude, you're in your 50s now. Like, we don't need you doing all this crazy shit anymore. If you want to do a elbow, that's cool. That's cool. I got no problem doing a little, as a fan, I got no problem seeing a little elbow, top of something. Want to crash through somebody from the announcer's table or whatever. I'm totally okay with that. But that other crazy shit that I saw tonight, I never want to see that again. I don't really want to see anybody, the hell with the age. I don't want to see nobody ever take a fucking bump like that. Period. If that would have been off just by a smidget, that could have been potentially very, very, that could have been a draw situation, yo. Wasn't liking that. Wasn't liking that whatsoever. But glad that the feud is over. So now, if you're looking at Braun Strowman, Braun is essentially somebody else. We were talking about different people earlier. He's somebody else that could definitely slide into that world picture, that world title picture. Not to mention, remember one of the things that Braun had said within the past 3 weeks going into Mania. I want to make sure you guys get caught up to speed. Braun, remember, he said to Drew McIntyre when that bounty was put out on Drew by the Hurt Business or by MVP and Lashley, Braun said to him, he's like, nah, I'm not going to take you out like I'm some punk ass coward. He's like, nah, I'm going to do it face to face. Like, I'm tied up right now with Shane O'Mac and all that. But I tell you what, after Mania, whether it's you or it's Lashley, I am coming after that WWE title. So have that in the back of your mind, because that could be the next immediate. I just don't see Shane O'Mac coming out the very next night, on Monday Night Raw or some shit like that. Braun got the rest of me over WrestleMania weekend. Yeah, it's true. He laid my ass out. Yeah, true. No, I'm not seeing that. Let's see. We got a couple of more matches to talk about at this point. I think we now got about maybe one more match to talk about. Let me look at the card here. Bear with me a second here. Yeah, we got one more match to talk about, and then that's pretty much it. I do want to get you guys comments. Oh, can I plug our poll, by the way? What did you guys think about WrestleMania? Sound off. Let me know what you guys had thought. I got a poll up on Twitter at the RCWR Show. Feel free to give me a follow over there as well. I also got a poll up on YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. And you can sound off there as well. Click on the Communities tab and you'll see the polling result. And your options are very simple since it's night one. I basically said thumbs up or thumbs down. Those are your choices, keeping it very simple tonight. And by the way, shout out to those of you that had checked out the earlier today. I was actually streaming the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view from Impact Wrestling. Let's see what you guys had said on Twitter. Let's see here. Twitter at the RCWR Show. I am seeing the following. All right, so we polled the fans over that's following WWE on their official Twitter handle. 13% gave the event a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 87% gave it a thumbs up. Meanwhile, amongst our own followers at the RCWR Show, 100% of you gave it a thumbs up. Now, let's see what's going on here via YouTube. Because normally the votes don't pick up until I actually plug that the poll is available. But sometimes I think because you guys turn on your notifications so you can see when stuff is being posted. We got a good gauge. But if you didn't vote yet, go vote. On YouTube in the Communities tab, 15% of you gave the event a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 85% of you gave WrestleMania a thumbs up. By the way, shout out to boy, you talk about spelling a motherfucker wrong. I spelled WrestleMania wrong. I got that joint spelled as Wrestlemania. Wrestlemania. That's cool. Yeah, but 15% of you thumbs down, 85% of you thumbs up. So next up, we had got a cool ass spot. We got a couple of surprises tonight. So apparently, whether some of us like it or not, there's going to be another WWE 2K game. Oh joy, oh joy, oh joy. We all remember how bad the last couple of ones were, and that was just oh joy, oh joy, oh joy is all I have to say. But apparently all that's changed because we got a new WWE 2K game, WWE 2K22. It's different. You know, that's pretty much the slogan. It's different. And it's kind of like, well, that kind of explains a little bit here. Can we get maybe a little bit more info? No, it hits different. That's all you need to know. Like in a bad way, in a good way. Like y'all just need to take my money. Like, you know, it just hits different. Is it gonna be as bad as the other ones? You know, like, can you tell me anything? It hits different. Like, okay. And as we all know, WWE 2K20, that last game, it was such a disaster. Such a disaster. Buggy, glitchy, just a big old mess of a fucking game. I mean, you know your game is bad when it's not even out for 90 days and the motherfucker is half off. So they showed a teaser for this one. They showed a really cool realistic graphic of Rey Mysterio, and it was actually followed by some, real in-game footage. He was wrestling Cesaro. I actually saw him doing the 619 on Cesaro and everything. The graphics look damn impressive, I gotta say. Anytime you can have me going, okay, what's actual footage and what's in-game footage, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh, wow. I think I'm looking at a real photo. I think I'm looking at a real video. Oh, no, that's a video. That's a video game. That's video game footage. I gotta say the graphics looked really damn impressive, but the tagline, it hits different. As far as a release date and all that, we don't know nothing right now. If you were to ask me straight up, am I going to be checking it out? I don't really know. You give me a second here. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Will I check it out? I don't really know, guys. I don't really know if I'm going to be checking it out. I think it's kind of one of those type of deals. And see, what has always been the lure for me when it comes to those WWE 2K games, what's been the lure for me has always been the WWE Supercard content. That's always been the lure. And I know some of you guys are probably saying, wait a minute, there's still a boatload of people that actually play Supercard League? Yeah, there's actually a still good chunk of people that play that game. And, it's still one of the most popular games that's out there. So, I don't know. Because at one point when the games were sucking for 2K, I always had that to look forward to because I would play that. But then even at that, nowadays when it comes to Supercard, I don't play it as much as I used to, right down to the point I'm kind of entertaining the idea. I actually might sell my account. I think I am at, what's after the behemoth level? I think I'm past that level. So I actually might sell my account and, just be totally done with that fucking game. But yeah, I've kind of got a little bit burned out by it. So if I were to get that game, I think it would have a lot to do with, well, what's the content? What's the pre-order bonuses and all that? What exactly do you get? If it's something that's really cool, really fucking banging, I might be interested. We'll have to wait and see. So I got that. And then we also got a cool ass spot for next year's WrestleMania. Stone Cold Steve Austin was promoting the hell out of it. WrestleMania is going to be taking place in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, buddy. Dallas, Texas, at the AT&T Stadium, April 3rd, 2022. I might actually try to go to this joint, man. I might actually try to go to this joint. I don't know, because it's going to be down in Texas. I don't know, man, because I've been trying to go to a WrestleMania event for the longest time, and it's so funny because, if it wasn't for the whole COVID shit and all of that, who am I kidding? There's no way I would have been able to pull off this year's WrestleMania. But I have been very interested in trying to go to a WrestleMania event as close as they can kind of get it to the East Coast and all that. So I seriously, I'm going to talk with the missus and see what's up, because I know one of the main things she's been trying to do is go to Dollyland, Dolly World. Dolly Parton's little ranch joint, or her little Neverland, whatever the joint is that she's got. And I guess that's kind of like on the way to Texas or whatever. So I gotta talk with her, see what's up. But I'm definitely gonna be looking into that. Now, as far as tickets, when they're gonna be going available, not seeing anything right now. as far as that information goes. That should be coming. Yeah, give it a couple of weeks. We should have more information about WrestleMania tickets. But thought that was kind of cool. It was a nice little video package that they put together for WrestleMania and everything. And I'm sure that since they've got Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're probably, fans that is, they're probably going to be jumping around saying, oh man, what do you think this means? The fact that they're using Stone Cold, do you think, is it possible Stone Cold may wrestle? Do you think, or is he going to be a host? Do you think he's going to have a major role with this Texas WrestleMania? You know, it's very well possible. It's very well possible. Hey, look, don't forget now, Undertaker is from Texas as well. So there could be a proper bon voyage to the Undertaker on a really big, grander scale next year. Kind of have that in the back of your mind. So you guys that might be going, no, you seriously need to give some strong thought on going to that WrestleMania. If I do end up going and I secure tickets and all that, I'll definitely let you know. And, you know, if you actually are going to be going to the event, maybe we can hook up, you know, have a couple of drinks, some cool shit like that. All right, so we got one other match that we need to talk about. And this one, pretty easy for me. Bad Bunny and Damien Priest teaming up to take on Miz and John Morrison. By the way, forgive me, the times, by the way, Cesaro, Rollins, 11 minutes, 35 seconds. AJ Styles, Omas taking on New Day and Kofi Kingston, Xaiver Woods, 9 minutes, 45 seconds. Braun Strowman defeating Shane McMahon, 11 minutes, 25 seconds. Bad Bunny, Damien Priest, Miz, John Morrison, 15 minutes, 5 seconds. I got to tell you, this is where my streak ended for tonight. I was perfect. Everything that I laid out when I was offering predictions on night one, I was perfect until I got to this point. And I did not consider, I overshot my shot. I overshot it big time. So if you guys remember when I originally looked at this match and I was offering predictions, I said, hey, it makes a lot of sense to have Miz and Morrison go over. I'm not going to go all long-winded and draw it out. You just would have had to listen to the Friday night show to understand where I was coming from and everything. But I made very valid points and I gave a really good argument, especially in the case of Damien Priest. So kind of have that. If you didn't listen to the Friday night show, just kind of latch on to that latter part and that should kind of get your gears going as far as, okay. But it didn't dawn on me that, you know, it was just one ear out the other. Just one ear out the other. And it didn't dawn on me until WWE did a couple of camera shots. And they were showing some of the people in the crowd that were reacting to Bad Bunny. And then it hit me. And I said out loud, shit. Yeah, my girl, you know, who was watching Mania with me the whole time, she's like, what? I'm like, God damn it. It's like, I went with Miz and Morrison, but I feel like now Damien Priest and Bad Bunny are going to win. And she's like, oh, is that because, yeah, because Bad Bunny's, he's Latin, ain't he? He's Latin or something, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, and then that's Florida, Tampa Bay. I'm like, yeah, like I totally didn't even think about that. And she's like, yeah, they're going over. I'm like, yeah. And that's exactly what happened. But I liked my idea a lot more about Miz and Morrison going over with a little bit of help there from Damien Priest. Look, let me tell you something. I've seen my share of wrestling. Been watching it since as early as I can remember, 1984. Okay, so I've seen a lot of shit. Seeing a lot of celebrities come in, funk it up, make a mockery out of it. And, you know, as far as like just a testament of time, good celebrity ambassadors, man, Andy Kaufman, hands fucking down. Definitely before I was born, but as I was growing up, I definitely got to learn about him. And, you know, many times I got to see footage, hear the stories, and I just thought, wow, Andy Kaufman. And then also, not to mention, as a kid, it was kind of good the transition that I was able to make, being probably introduced to Andy Kaufman and everything. I grew up, by the time, I was born and everything, it was already in syndication, but I got to watch Taxi. So that's how my first earliest memories there of Andy Kaufman was actually on that TV show. So, and then his character, I loved his character a lot. I also love the Danny DeVito character too on Taxi, because I love how he was just this short little guy that was just, he came off like he had a black heart, and just the trash he would talk. I mean, for a short guy, he had mad fucking game in his trash talking, mad trash talking. And then, for that to just trickle on down, I don't know if it was my uncle or if it was maybe my mom, but between the two of them, somebody was, because they knew how much of a fan I was of Taxi and Andy Kaufman, and they showed me the joint with Jerry Lawler. And I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, I just was like, so it was really cool, and it stayed with me and everything. And of course, as I got older, I wanted to, seek more information on, how all of that had came about with Jerry Lawler and shit. And it was just like, whoa, badass. But Andy Kaufman, cream of the crop, definitely a very good celebrity ambassador for the sport of professional wrestling. Went in there, he totally understood it. He had the psychology, he dedicated himself to it and everything. Loved it. Fucking loved it. Not for nothing, but when I look at David Arquette, I know David Arquette gets a lot of fucking heat and everything, but that man had the truest intent. I always felt, I felt that way long before, he did the interviews for it, did the documentary. I always felt, he, to the best of his ability, I thought he was a good ambassador as well. Hell, you can even make a damn good argument for The Miz, considering he was a reality star, right? No wrestling knowledge, none of that. And for him to just basically go from TV celebrity to everything that he's been able to accomplish in the WWE, that's a big testament to him. So, he's a good celebrity ambassador, representing wrestling and all that. When I look at Bad Bunny and the work that he did here tonight, he falls in that same category. I mean, my God, this guy really did go in there and say, nah, train me. I really want to learn this. I want to perfect this. I don't want to just go in here and just, I'm here. And I'm mooching off of the WWE, and I'm getting my 15 minutes of fame, and I'm selling my shit, and I'm increasing my brand awareness. I mean, this guy really went in there. Didn't go in there with no kid gloves. Didn't go in there in a type of fashion where it's like, no, my contract doesn't call for me to get hit. So I can't do stuff like that. No. I mean, he really went in there, and I mean, he put it all out there. I was bugging. I'm just like, I can't believe this young man is fucking going there, and he's showing me something. And as this match is playing out, I'm actually looking over at my girl, and she's just starstruck as well when she's looking at Bad Bunny. And we both say at the same time, better than Gronk. And we looked and we laughed. And it was like, yeah, Gronk was pretty rough, wasn't he? It was like, yeah, Gronk was pretty rough. It's like, yeah, Gronk was definitely rough. But we're looking at that and we're like, wow. I love the fact that Miz, you try to go in there and you try to start it off with a little bit of basic chain wrestling and all that, and yet Bad Bunny is getting the best of the Miz. I was just loving this. And you got Miz, who's just getting so goddamn hot-headed. At first he's got the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna do Ring Around the Rosie on this little kid. So that's gonna be, so we'll see what happens here. But then it's just one of those type of deals where the longer the match continued and the more that you're seeing out of Bad Bunny, it's like, oh, we're in for a treat right here. Okay, this should be good. But it was very good. And see, to each its own. But for me specifically, for all that I've seen since 1984, for me to give that type of high compliments to Bad Bunny, I don't throw that out there loosely. Because see, we gotta be real specific. It's one thing if you have an amateur wrestling, a fighting background, you got some type of when I was in college, all my years, I did track, or, I did this, I did, that's one thing. But to basically take somebody like a Bad Bunny, that's just basically ice fucking cold. Ice cold. And, the only thing that you got with this guy is, hey, he's always been a wrestling fan. He loves it. He's grown up on it for, a couple of decades now, and he respects what those men and women do in the ring, and, he respects the business. He respects the men and the women of the business. He respects, the promotions. He respects the business in general. You're like, okay, so this guy really, he had the truest intent. Most of these young pop stars, most of these young celebrities, because he's still a young man, he's about 26, 27. Most of these young folks, they ain't trying to go at it, let alone on a pro wrestling level. They ain't trying to go at it like the way he went out there tonight. They want to pretty much be fucking in and out. And that's basically it. Now, as far as I know, this young man, Bad Bunny, ain't got I can't believe I'm saying young man, but it is, because I'm almost like double his age. So that's crazy. Time flies. Anyway, he's like, but no, to my knowledge, this guy, no athletic background. So for him to be able to go in ice cold and learn the shit that he's been able to learn over the course of these past couple of months, just imagine, like, if he ever decides, hey, you know what, I actually think I might want to do this pro wrestling thing, on a regular basis or on a part-time level basis. I mean, he's definitely, I'm sure WWE with open arms, like, hands down. I'm sure, if it already hasn't been said, I'm sure that anytime Bad Bunny is available to do something, WWE would love to have him on board, come by and do something. I'm sure it's pretty much at that point. It almost kind of reminds me of the days of the late Cesaro Romero. Anybody that knows about the Adam West Batman TV show would know this, which is, of all the people that the writers, producers loved producing content for, it was the late Cesaro Romero, because writing for him was just, it was just a walk in the park, a lot of fun, always energetic, and it was like they weren't even working. It was just that easy. And so there was always that dialogue with Cesaro Romero. It's like, look, whenever you're available, like, yeah, we definitely want you to, that's why Cesaro Romero kept fucking popping up. Like, of all the major villains from that TV series, he was one of the major ones that stayed popping up, definitely was involved in the Batman movies and all that, so it had that nice open door there. I would like to imagine that Bad Bunny definitely has that same type of a door open with Vince and the WWE. That t-shirt that he wore talking about some 2032, so basically that should be when he goes into the WWE Hall of Fame. You know what? No bullshit. I think the young man is probably going to go in there a lot sooner than that. I honestly do. I think he's going to go in there a lot sooner. I wouldn't be surprised if the young man, bear with me a second here, I wouldn't be surprised if the young man actually went into it 2021 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if 2025, maybe 2026, the young man actually goes into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. Love the touch of the bunnies for the entrance. It's like, oh, well, you know what Easter was? Yeah, why not? Go ahead, do it. I love that little touch. His entrance was pretty damn epic, too. I love the fact that he pretty much was riding on top of a fucking truck. You know, that was pretty bad. He was riding on top of a diesel truck. I'm like, okay, like, all right, that's kind of badass. He's got the whole pyro and all that shit. To see him actually do a bunny destroyer, which is basically like a Canadian destroyer, essentially. Like, to see him fucking do that on, what was it? I think he did it on John Morrison. Like, I mean, my mouth dropped to him like, good God almighty. Shout out to Miz. Shout out to Morrison. Shout out to Damien Priest. Because, you know, you can tell a lot by watching the body language of these pro athletes and how they're dealing with celebrities, how they got to interact with celebrities. And I tell you, it was like egos all put at the door. And it was just, okay, let's work together. We're a team on this one. We know what we're supposed to do. Let's go out there. Let's do it. No egos, no politics, you know, no dirty tactics. Let's go out there. Let's fucking entertain these fans. Let's send them home happy. You know, I love that everybody was just in unison. And then also at the same time, you know, when you were watching this, you just couldn't help but, yeah, they really respect Bad Bunny. They really do. And it's interesting because some of the little chatter that you read about online, you know, you hear about, you know, listen to other shows and all that, Bad Bunny is well liked. He is well liked, well respected and everything. Look, I got to tell you, and I wouldn't be truthful if I didn't mention this. So I definitely got to be honest here and keep it consistent. I know you guys have heard me on recent shows, and I've bashed the hell out of Bad Bunny. I brought up a couple of times how there was the survey. They're like, what did you think about Bad Bunny? You know, what do you like about Bad Bunny in the WWE? How do you feel about Bad Bunny in the WWE? Like, I don't care for Bad Bunny. Personally, I don't give a shit about Bad Bunny. Nothing personal. I was like, I don't care for him. But he won me over tonight. Big time. I love the fact also that, remember the biggest complaint that I had there from Monday night with Bad Bunny out there doing that long ass promo in the middle of the ring. Remember that? And he's talking in English, which I felt that was a detriment. That was a detriment. Why would you do that? Let him talk in his native language. Like, no, don't. Why are you doing that to the brother? That's hurting him right now. And I love the fact that when they were setting up the little vignettes for this match tonight, and when it came to Bad Bunny stuff, he was speaking in his native language. You got the English subtitle. I was like, perfecto. Perfecto. Bueno. Loved it. Loved it. But after tonight, I am officially now a fan of Bad Bunny. Now, I don't particularly care for his music. I have listened to enough. It's just not my cup of tea. But hey, to all my amigos out there, you like that music? More power to you. More power to you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. No, we all got different tastes, especially when it comes to our music. So I can't hate. I can't hate. But he definitely won me over. So I can't wait to see what else happens with this young man, because I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more of him, you know, when time permits it in the WWE and everything. But it was good shit. I was quite taken back, very, very pleased. As far as shockers of the night so far, at least when it comes to night one of Mania, that was the shocker, seeing how he performed. Definitely. What more do we say about the Bianca Belair and the Sasha Banks match? I mean, there's really not much more we can say with regards to that match, as we did open up, you know, talking about it at the start of the show. But now that we've got Bianca as the champion, I would like to believe that maybe in some form you got Bayley that could maybe slide in there as a potential opponent. Definitely slide in there Carmella. I think Carmella and Bianca would just flow very well together. That would be pretty good. I'm not sure what show. I think she might have been moved again. I'm not really sure, but Nikki Cross, not exactly sure what's going on with her. But if she's on SmackDown nowadays, that would kind of be a bit interesting there, But there's some good combinations that you can definitely do. But the key, you got to do a really good job in building up your women's division. Now, when you look over on the Raw side of things, the way they've essentially kind of countered until the Becky Lynch and Ronda Rouseys can come back and everything. We ain't got Charlotte Flair right now, but that should change in a matter of days, basically. But we got Rhea Ripley. Okay. So, so you see that, you go, okay. But, over on SmackDown, they're still kind of lacking a little bit over there for that brand. So, we got to do something with these Bianca Belairs, these Sasha Banks, these Baileys, and we got to make sure that, we're producing, okay, we got these people at the top, now we're going to have these people at the top work with these people that's in between, maybe even at the bottom, and pretty much try to help elevate them and get them to, this level. So, we can have that diversity that's going on there in between and all that. Very critical. It's very, very, very critical, man. Very critical. But I have a feeling sooner or later we're probably going to see some of these titles get unified. I think at this point it just really kind of comes down to how much longer is WWE going to remain stationary. When are they going to start doing live tours again? All of that. Like, if it's a case, if you were to tell me WWE probably isn't going to be going on tour until maybe at the very latest, if you were to tell me maybe fall 2021, that's a lot to consider. Like, okay, do we go ahead and fuse, do a unification of some of these titles, or do we go ahead and a lot to think about, right? It's a lot to think about. So, if it's a case where it's like first quarter 2022, second quarter 2022, I could legit, okay, well, let's entertain this. Let's actually see if we can, you feel me? So I think it just really depends. One more time, let's look at the polling results. Let's see what you guys had to say about night one of WrestleMania. And on Twitter, we go to now, I'm seeing for the poll option under WWE's fan base, following Twitter. I'm seeing 13% of you gave the event a thumbs down. 87% of you gave it a thumbs up. Meanwhile, for our own respected followers at the RCWR show, 100% of you still are saying thumbs up. Let's see what's going on with you guys via YouTube. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. Remember, click on the communities tab. Let's see what you guys are saying over there. We're still holding steady too. We've got 15% of you that's giving the event a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 85% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So you hear that. You haven't voted yet. As I always like to tell you guys, go with the poll that you feel overall the majority, that's the side that you're on. So don't spam out. Just pick the poll based off of the statistics that you heard there. Go with the poll that you feel best represents you and vote that way. But we'll revisit these options one more time with the polls. We'll revisit them one more time when it comes to night two. Night two card looking pretty damn good too. Just to touch upon that card one more time for night two of WrestleMania. And yeah, Bad Bunny, without a doubt, stole the show. Stole the show during his WrestleMania debut, without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt. celebrities need to try to strive to, those that really respect the hell out of the business. They're not looking to just expand their brand portfolio and all that. They can learn. They can learn something from Bad Bunny. That's how you fucking rise to the fucking level. That's how you fucking do it. That's how you hit a home run. Night 2 of WrestleMania. We've got Asuka defending the Raw Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. Fiend taking on Randy Orton. Big E defending his Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight match. Kevin Owens takes on Sami Zayn with Logan Paul looking on. Riddle defends his United States Championship against Sheamus. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending their women's tag titles against Natalya and Tamina. And for the Universal Championship match, it's a triple threat match as Roman Reigns defends the title against Edge and Daniel Bryan. So 7 matches that we got. So looking forward to it, man. One night down, we got another night to go. Looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys will join me for night 2. Looking forward to chatting it up with you guys and sharing the overall reactions to that event. Should be awesome. Looking forward to it. And as always, man, as I say, when I get ready to close these shows out, please, if you had yourself a great time, and I know most of you guys did, go out of your way one more time. Make sure if you haven't done so already, hit that like, subscribe, click the bell notification, and when you do, make sure you select to get all notifications so you know about all the content that's coming your way on a weekly basis, especially right now as we have now officially marked show number 6 of 8. That's now in the books. Now we're on to night 7 of 8, which is going to be later tonight after night 2 of Mania concludes. And then night 8 of 8, the conclusion, that's going to go down Monday night, Raw after WrestleMania. Tune in for that. That'll be our last show, as I always like to take a well-deserved vacation from the shows after we do Mania. It's been our yearly tradition. So make sure you represent for the next 2 nights, okay? Be kind, rewind, check out previous shows you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And until Sunday night for WrestleMania Night 2, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you all in a little bit. Y'all